Woman is a stranger to her home without a killer Sukimao na wakoloni ndotoni, gari la reli la temea kwake na moshi, vita vya kikabila alionya mbeleni, leo amtemelea kama nguvu hazitoshi, temeni motherland urembo kwa
May 25th marks the defining moment in Africa's journey of freedom, unity, and self-determination. It is a day that honors the sacrifices of liberation heroes and celebrates the enduring spirit of Pan-Africanism. In Kenya, the 2026 commemoration of African Liberation Day brings together voices from across the continent, the African diaspora, and friends of Africa in a shared commitment to shape a more prosperous, peaceful, and inclusive future. This year's observance is anchored on inclusive engagement, leveraging the expertise, experiences, and aspirations of stakeholders from Africa and beyond to co-create transformative policies, impactful partnerships, and sustainable collaborations.
We can live forever and we yet to last. We still multiply but they killing blacks. Kizazi ni kipya na ndoto kibao, zitwaona mbele kama sio kimao.
African Liberation Day traces its roots to the formation of Organization of African Unity in 1963, a landmark moment that united newly independent nations in pursuit of freedom, solidarity, and collective progress. More than 6 decades later, the vision remains relevant. While political liberation has largely been achieved, Africa continues to pursue economic transformation, technological advancement, climate resilience, and social inclusion. Today's generation carries forward the dream of an integrated continent, one where innovation, trade, culture, and shared prosperity transcend borders.
A luta continua contro che. The struggle continues for what? For what does the struggle continue? Against tribalism, he said. Against poverty. Against illiteracy. Against discrimination against women. Against poverty. And he says, the luta continua victoria seta. Victory is certain. And that is why we are gathered here in the knowledge that what we are doing is an intergenerational struggle. Nyerere said it in 1997, our generation had the duty of liberating you politically. The next generation must undertake economic liberation. And that is why in Lagos in 1980, we had the Lagos Plan of Action. That is why in 1991, we had the Abuja Treaty. That is why in 1988, you had the Yamoussoukro Declaration that the African skies would become free. That is why we said we don't want visas. That is why we had years of declarations. If we are not declaring in Maputo about women, we are talking about agriculture in Malabo, and we are talking about health in Abuja, and we are talking about silencing the guns. We will only do so if we roll up our sleeves. If we persuade young Africans that the grass is not greener on the other side, it is our duty to make grass green on this side. And we can do it. That is why we have Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So that I can move teff from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia to Nouakchott in Mauritania. I can move dates from Tunis in Tunisia to Bangui in Central African Republic. I can move cassava from Maiduguri in Nigeria to Maputo in Mozambique. That is why we are talking about a borderless Africa, where I can wake up in the morning in Monrovia and fly 6 hours later and in Nairobi in Kenya, and I enter Nairobi without the question that you are being asked about T-shirts. It must stop. And it is our duty to tell those who are in positions of leadership that we can no longer afford the luxury of having 54 or 55 border posts. Pan-Africanism is not just being romantic about it, but it must have content. Content for agriculture, content for health, content for education, content for artificial intelligence. We must do it. It can be done, and it is you and me who must do it.
63 years later, we are talking the rule of law. But it looks like there's more the rule of law, there's more poverty. Where there's more democracy, there's more corruption. Where we seem to be talking inter-country management and growth, it looks like more nepotism and tribal wars are being created. Why? Because until we are able to diagnose the problem, the prescription can never be right. Africa has been abused. Africa has been robbed. Africa has been drugged. Africa has been dragged. Africa has been abused beyond recognition. And while we are trying to heal like a proper traumatized, abused and molested woman, please, Mr. Abuser, can you step away a little bit? Give me time just to find myself. Allow me to call people close to me that love me and understand me. Don't come around and try to bandage the wounds that you have created. And how dare we educated people think that you can actually solve the African problems with the same European solutions.
Kenya's 2026 commemoration serves as a platform for dialogue, innovation, and partnership. The event convenes policymakers, academics, youth leaders, entrepreneurs, development partners, cultural practitioners, civil society organizations, and representatives of the African diaspora. Together, they are exploring practical pathways toward Africa's transformation through collaboration and shared responsibility. Central to this year's observance is the belief that sustainable development requires the participation of all stakeholders. Diverse perspectives are being brought together to generate ideas and forge partnerships capable of addressing Africa's most pressing opportunities and challenges. The African diaspora remains a vital partner in Africa's development journey. Through investment, innovation, knowledge exchange, and cultural connections, diaspora communities continue to strengthen ties between Africa and the world. This year's event recognizes the important role of global partnerships and the contributions of Friends of Africa who support the continent's aspirations.
I once talked to a group of young African influencers about what is Pan-Africanism. Did you know, even in this room, if I were to ask each and every one of you what is Pan-Africanism, you would give me a different answer. Am I right? So, Professor, our leaders, we don't know Pan-Africanism. We do not. And I would like to say that Pan-Africanism is not a slogan only or a historical movement. It is a profound commitment to our unity, dignity, liberation, and advancement of people of African descent on the continent and throughout the diaspora. I lived in the US, And one thing that always pained me was when African Americans and Africans were always talking bad about each other. This is some of you don't know about this. Do you know that Africans who go to the US, they say they are more educated than African Americans? And African Americans say that, you know, you're where you are because we struggled. How do we find ourselves bickering? There's a saying in Nigeria, I don't know if my Nigerian friends know about it, that a lizard cannot climb on your wall unless there is cracks on your wall. So those who want to plunder us, those who want to take things away from us, they will always take advantage of our divisions. To be a Pan-Africanist means believing that the future of Africa is inseparable from the unity of its people. It means recognizing that our diversity is not a weakness, but a source of strength, as Ambassador Salah mentioned. Our founding fathers envisioned an Africa that would stand tall among the nations of the world, an Africa that would determine its own destiny and speak with one voice. So about the Gen Zs, you are the generation of change, innovation, and hope. Your voices matter, your dreams are valid, and your future is powerful. So as we celebrate Africa Day, may you rise with purpose, unity, discipline, and pride for our continent.
Participants are identifying innovative ways to deepen cooperation in areas such as trade, education, health, climate action, digital transformation, and cultural diplomacy. These conversations are laying the foundation for partnerships that extend beyond the commemorative event and into long-term action. With more than half of Africa's population under the age of 25, young people are at the center of the continent's future. The African Liberation Day 2026 commemoration highlights youth leadership as a driving force for innovation, economic growth, and social transformation. Across the venue, young Africans are sharing ideas, presenting solutions, and demonstrating how technology and entrepreneurship can accelerate development. By creating spaces for meaningful participation, the event reinforces the principle that Africa's future must be shaped by those who will inherit it. The significance of African Liberation Day lies not only in reflection but also in action. Throughout the event, stakeholders are identifying concrete initiatives designed to advance inclusive growth, strengthen regional cooperation, and accelerate sustainable development. The focus is on transforming ideas into measurable outcomes through partnerships that connect governments, private sector actors, civil society, academia, and communities.
How do we rehabilitate ourselves? Some of us have become so compliant. I understand you. You are symptomatic. You are frozen in fear. But the quicker we begin to look inside ourselves and find that there is life in us, we were once a great people. We will be great again. And to recover, it has not to do with trying to patch the failures of the colonial parasite system, but we need now to start dealing with grief as grief, find correct diagnosis, repair ourselves. And I just hope that when we grow up and we have recovered, we'll never tell our children that abusers were better than us. In fact, young children, if you don't know what killed your father, it will kill you also.
Woo. May we remember that conferences do not change continents. Convictions do. Africa does not need another generation of spectators. Africa needs builders, bridge builders, policy builders, peace builders, institution builders, hope builders. Far too long we have exported our brilliance and imported our dependence. For far too long, our borders have been stronger than our brotherhood. Far too long, Africa has been introduced to the world by her pain instead of her beauty and potential. But today, we rewrite the story. You and I in our beautiful Ankara, in our beautiful Kente, in our beautiful Safari. Let this not be the end of yet another event, ladies and gentlemen. As Nelson Mandela, our dearest Madiba, once reminded the world, it always seems impossible until it is done.
As Kenya commemorates African Liberation Day 2026, the message is clear. Africa's future will be built through unity, inclusion, and collective action. Guided by the principles of Pan-Africanism and strengthened by partnerships across the continent, the diaspora and Friends of Africa, this gathering represents a renewed commitment to shared prosperity and sustainable progress. The liberation struggle continues in new forms through innovation, cooperation, and the determination to create opportunities for all. Together, Africa moves forward.